My name is Bruno Silva. I'm a journalist and content creator, and I'm going to introduce today's session, Open Innovation at Ubisoft, how building and fostering the strongest performing and serene indie ecosystem is benefiting all of us inside the industry. Obviously, the session is in English, so if you want the translation in Portuguese, access the link for the translation here on this channel. Let's welcome Anne Blondell-Johan, VP of Open Innovation at Ubisoft. How are you doing, Anne?
I'm very good, Bruno. Thank you so much for having me today. I hope you can see and hear me well.
Yes.
I'm going to be sharing my screen. I have some slides to show you. I'm not going to be lecturing you guys, but I just wanted to have some things so that we can discuss together and have an open discussion as much as possible together afterwards. So let me share my screen.
All right, the screen is all yours.
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, let me do that then. Let's see if you can see my screen now.
Yes, now I can see it.
Great, thank you, Bruno. So yes, as I said, I'm very happy to be here today because what I like the most being in the industry for the past 25 years is to spend time sharing ideas and thoughts with fellow developers. So I want to thank you, Big, also for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, I think I'm on the screen, not the presentation.
Oh, okay. Let me try again. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Let's see if that's better. Because I tried earlier and it was working. So let's see. So that's you, Bruno.
Yes.
And if I do this and this, then they should be, Seems I only can get you, Bruno. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Let me try again. Partager la fenêtre. Here it is. Sorry.
Okay.
Should be better.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay. Well, so where was I? Yeah, I was thanking you for the opportunity to have me today. So, as we don't have that much time, I'll focus on a quick intro about what the Open Innovation Accelerator Initiative is about, and how it can relate to the indie developers ecosystem and scene. Real quick, first thing first. Ubisoft, as you might know, we've been around for more than 30 years now, and we are over 20,000 developers all over the world. 80% of those people are focused on production, that is to say conception, pre-production, production, but also live and DevOps, and also building the tools, the instruments, the technology, and the services we need to build those games and those experiences for gamers. We also have support such as QA and QC teams, localization, and first-party relationship management. So if we are so many developers all around the world, why on earth would we need an open innovation accelerator? Well, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to be emphasizing that right now, we are developers. And why am I insisting on this? Let me tell you a short story. When I was at GDC back in 2018, I used to be presenting Ubisoft and this initiative, and everybody was staring at me and saying, "Oh, I thought you were only a publisher." Well, yes, we are a publisher, but publishing is really a small part of what we do. As I said, at heart, we are dev. And why is it so important for me to say that to you today? That means that we are gamer-centric. We are looking at providing as many different and outstanding last-standing experiences to gamers. And when I mean gamers, I'm not only referring to people interacting with our games with a pad or a mouse or a keyboard. I'm also referring to every kind of interaction that a gamer can have with the game. That is to say, being a spectator, being a streamer, being a user-generated content creator, creating activities, being someone calling our customer support, and so on and so forth. Whichever the interaction we can have with gamers, we are really keen to giving the best experiences possible to our gamers. Obviously, Ubisoft is mostly known for the HD games with open world IPs such as Assassin's Creed, but also game as a service IPs such as Rainbow Six. And we cannot do everything. We do not do how to do everything. And we know that people like you outside our company are doing things way much better than we do. And we have the feeling that if we have a balanced collaboration, a balanced relationship together, then we can have the overall game industry thrive. And the more it thrives, the more gamers it will bring to the table, it will bring to our experiences as well. So we have the feeling that with helping you guys, it's helping us in the long term as well. So the idea is that if we thrive as a whole, we all win as a whole. How do we do that? Well, we are looking for what we call the WizKids, innovative WizKids. So innovative indie developer who are doing things that we don't know how to do within Ubisoft, who are doing things that nobody except themselves know how to do on the market. And we fall in love with your teams, with your projects, with your ideas. It is to us to find you guys, and it is to us to approach you very humbly and telling you that as developers, we would very much like to start discussing between our teams to see how we could be helpful for each other. So it's really centered and focused around your needs, because it is up to Ubisoft to convince you guys to become a partner of choice, your partner of choice. It's not the other way around. We know for a fact that a lot of publishers, but also platforms are looking for a lot of indie developer content. And they have an approach where they are asking you, so to speak, to come to them and so that they can pick you guys. Well, we do it the other way around. As I said, we're scouting you, we're looking for you outside, wherever you can be, on Twitter, on Twitch, on forums, in events such as Big. And then again, it is for us to understand better what we could be bringing to the table to make you even better, to make you achieve even more the vision that you have in terms of gamer experience, so that you decide to become, that we will become your partner of choice and not the other way around. And finally, what do we have to offer? Well, we, as I said, we've been around for more than 30 years. We have been experiencing and trying out and failing and sometimes succeeding with different stuff. So we're very open to sharing knowledge. We have also been developing a lot of our own services and a lot of our own technology. And we are willing to push you onto Ubisoft Connect, Ubisoft Store, and Ubisoft Plus, for instance, with publishing. But we're very eager to have creative discussion, whether it ends up into a commercial relationship in the end or not, doesn't matter. For us, as I said, it's very important that we all share together ideas and common philosophy about what's making, sorry about that, a great game. And obviously, sometimes we can be looking at funding. Funding can be also obviously acquisition, equity, but it can also be funding a project from A to Z, or why not just a minimum viable product so that you can show it to other people within the industry if in the end we decide together that we're not going to be pursuing the relationship. So I'm showing you here 3 examples of what we've been achieving so far. We've had an amazing relationship with Maschinenmensch, which is a Berlin, a German studio in Berlin. And what we've been doing with them is that we've been delighted to share with them to do a learning expedition around from our front, from Ubisoft. We send people over from Ubisoft to discuss with them and to share with them how we approach world and IP building, because this was something they were very much interested. And on the other way around, they were kind enough to come to us and to share with us how emergent narrative was supporting roguelite replayability. And obviously, we didn't pick them up as hard. I mean, we had been big fans of what they had been doing with the Curious Expedition for a long time already. And it was our honor to go to them, to approach them and say that we were very much impressed by what they were doing and that we were willing to be able to see how we could be helpful to each other. So that's one kind of example, which is what we call the learning expeditions. Second example I wanted to share with you is something we've been doing with a modding group, a French modding group, mainly French modding group, I should say, which is called Nomad. And they've been working very closely before the game was released, before Watch Dogs Legion was released, on the script hook, which has been released 2 weeks ago, and which is enabling a lot of modding for players who were eager to be able to mod Watch Dogs Legion. So this is something we're very happy to have done also. We have came to them and say that we had been impressed by what they have been modding already, and we have asked if they wanted to partner with us on Watch Dogs Legion. So we have built those bridges very early in production with them. And third example I wanted to share with you, and that's going to be the last one before we start discussing and exchanging. We have implemented what we called the indie corner of the Ubisoft Forward. Ubisoft Forward is what the digital event we have put in place last year, and which is going to be happening this year again, to replace the physical E3. And as we realized that a lot of the indie developers we were interacting with were suffering a lot for not having that opportunity to showcase their games to either, again, publishers or other developers, or even to gamers, that we could be sharing with them some of our streaming time to push some of them onto our show, our event. And we've been doing that last year, and we are to do it this year again. So, obviously, there are many, many more examples and projects in the backlog. One thing to remember is that it's us falling in love with your projects and your teams and coming humbly to you and asking if you would be willing to join forces. And when I say there are many more in the backlog, it's because, as I said earlier, it is a discussion, an open discussion on our needs and your needs, and find the best collaboration possible so that we both achieve the return on investments we're looking for. And again, the philosophy is about that if the more indie developers succeed on the market, the more different gamers we will be able to access and to make join the gaming industry, and the more in the end all of us will win from it. So that's it. If you're interested into that initiative or the way we're approaching it, I would very much like to talk about it with you today. Whether you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Whether you have any suggestions on how we should or should not approach, whether you had any feedback on what I just said, I'd be super happy to be discussing that with you right now. Thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. So now we will check the questions and comments from the audience that were selected by our team. For now, we would like, if you're watching us, so please send the questions to us so we can have the discussion. I want to ask a question to you, and about the Ubisoft Forward part.
Yes.
How has that process been up for you guys so far? Because it's a really new thing that Ubisoft has been doing, and it's mostly because it was something that was brought by the pandemic. We had to shift to digital and shift your events and your announcements to a digital format. So how has it been working with these indie developers to put their work on these digital events and balancing the intersection of the event with the other things the company has to show up?
Actually, you're very right. The idea came with the fact that there was GDC was canceled. That was the very first one event to be canceled, and we were super sad that we would not be able to meet with developers. And then we realized that we were very lucky to have our own digital event, and we were saying, okay, what if 30 years ago we couldn't do that? What would have been the most helpful, us being also an indie developer at that time? And we thought, well, maybe, helping those people to come and join us with the events, because we know we have a lot of traction, because this is the time of the year when Ubisoft is announcing its AAA, quadruple A. Why don't we return the favor to indie developers we've been working and discussing earlier with them? And it was for us a way also to show them that we were true to our promise to propose something which will be helpful to them and helpful to us at the same place. So we approached some indie developers. As I said, we've been very close to during the 6 months prior to the event. And we said, okay, well, we have 3 slots available. We love what you do. We know that sometimes being with a huge developer as Ubisoft can be scary, but here is how we would like to do and be very respectful. And we would like you to be in charge of presenting your games the way you want to. There is no strings attached, no money involved. All we're asking you is to send us the video of what you want to showcase and what you want to say about your game, and the stage is yours. And this is how it works.
Awesome.
As simple as that.
Wow, it's very simple. We have a question from the audience, which is, how can I contact Ubisoft to pitch my game?
You can contact us. The best way to do it is when you are into an event, such as Big. We are part of Meet to Match, so just reach out to us this way. Or you can be any time of events, we're there. So whenever you're ready, just send us a Meet to Match and we'll be happy. And if we cannot have a meeting, because obviously there's only 7 hours a day, there's always a link for you guys to send your pitches, and we'll be eager to look at it. But I have to say that the best way to get in touch with us is to not be afraid of pushing your game out to the gamers. Because what we're looking at, as I said, we're looking at Twitch, we're looking at Twitter, we're looking at forums, we're looking at all kind of places where you guys are in touch with gamers. Because what gamers are thinking about your games already is super important for us, and we trust them even more than we trust ourselves. And believe us, we have an amazing scout team, so we'll be finding you as well. And don't be afraid. I mean, even if your game is just a pitch, we're interested. And even if it's very much advanced in the process of development, we're also very interested. So we're very open. The only thing is that we have to fall in love with what you do, but that's the only criteria we're using: innovation and love.
Awesome. We have. I believe that there are 2 questions there about the same theme, so I think you can merge them. Which is, okay. Ubisoft has an office in Brazil, and do they have some sort of incubation of indie developers? And how does Ubisoft see the Brazilian market for games and indie developers?
So yes, we have a subsidiary in Brazil, but that subsidiary is only distribution, so they don't do with developer. But my team, based in HQ in Paris, is a worldwide team. So we scout everywhere, and this is why we were so happy to be part of your festival. So we see what's happening in LATAM, and we are very impressed, I have to say, with what's happening, because actually I was answering the same questions about people last week. People were asking me where we find the most innovative titles, and I have to say it's very much in LATAM, and specifically in Brazil. You guys have something to do with esports, which is quite amazing to us, if I can just pinpoint this one. And we have never found other places on Earth where people are so good about esports, and where the overall community is so much supporting games for esports. So I would say that yes, we see Brazilian titles, and we like to see what you guys are doing.
Awesome. There's another question that from our audience. I would like to know if Ubisoft has an active social or environmental program.
That's a very good question. Yes, we do. We have social and environmental programs internally, but also externally. We are looking at a way to promote more specifically the type of games, because we feel that being a social phenomenon, gaming can help with those topics and can help people grow, and we feel that we can educate. And also we need to be very careful in what we do, into being very respectful socially and environmentally on the environmental topic. Sorry, hard for me to say. Sorry about that. So yes, we do. Yes, we do. We're looking specifically for those type of games, if that was the question was about.
Okay, awesome. We have our last question. Do you think game jams are a good tool for open innovation in the games industry?
I would say game jams are a different approach of innovation. I think they are very interesting, but that is something that within my team we don't do. We don't do them per se, but we have a team internally which is called the Strategic Innovation Lab, which is doing sometimes of type of game jams, because it's really a different approach. But we have been scouting titles which were coming out of game jams. So I think it's very interesting because, again, more brains thinking about the same thing but from different perspective is always a win for the gamers in the end. So it has something to do with open innovation, yes, also.
Awesome. Well, our time is over, so we have to wrap it up. I'd like to thank you, Anne, for this amazing chat and this amazing panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And I wish you a great festival.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Big Festival 2021, the biggest games festival in Latin America.